It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
All right, everybody, welcome back. I stumbled across a Reddit post here from about, 3 months ago, apparently. And it says, the devs want to get rid of every form of skill expression, and the community is cheering it on. Which, right off the bat, I mean, I already agree. Like, this is an amazing way to bring in the topic. And this is something that I think we can 100% agree with, because this is something we've seen over and over and over. And I'm assuming that they're going to bring in the other examples that could potentially support that viewpoint. So it reads, Skybilly patched out, flashlight timings gone, hook grabs which required team coordination gone. Now you can trade last second alone. Insta-flicks, which was a huge part of his skill expression, gone and replaced with a hardcore 180-degree turn which takes no skill at all. Which I have to stop right there. 100% accurate. Now, Skybilly, I think you could technically consider it like a bug, like with how, like, because I don't think they intend for him to be like Billy to be able to like do that. Because some of the stuff I've seen, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of going out of bounds, kind of stuff. Like, this is kind of going into that range of like there's certain things on the game that I can say, hey, this is skill expression. This is learning how to use your character better. So for example, I'll use an example from Marvel Rivals. I've seen things that you can do on there, like with, say, Namor, right? You can time your regular trident with your ability trident and be able to one-shot a duelist or something, for example. Or like when Spider-Man's able to like pull people off of the map due to the momentum, or like say for like with Emma Frost specifically, because I main her, you can drop the crystal and then combo the person with the crystal, and it'll deal additional damage because you're breaking the crystal and hitting them with diamond form. Like, those are things you can do, like, you name it, right? Like, there's different things that can be learned about your character that is in depth, like that can be applied, and those things were in DBD and are not anymore. Like, those things are long gone. We already understand that. We know that to be the case. It is what it is. And it's unfortunate because I've constantly stated, like, they need to lean into, those aspects of learning and those aspects of education of the game. And the crazy part is that I've said many a times, as it is, learning killers in this game means nothing anymore. They've already removed all skill expression from Survivor because they've added additional palettes. They've made the hook timer super long. They've added that additional timer for endurances and haste. Like, they give you not only is just gens in general don't require much effort, but you have a bit like the ability to toggle the gen. So all you have to do is just hands free. You just press spacebar every once in a while. You don't have to continue to hold down the button, or I guess rather the M1, whatever the case may be. You automatically recover from being like on the ground as Survivor. Like, they're removing even like the most minuscule of minuscule effort that requires to even play the game at this point. And people can say on the surface, like on paper, oh, that doesn't mean anything. But it's like, you got to think about it in the overarching, view here. Like, you have to like step outside of it and look at the entire picture. The fact of the matter is that they're removing all skill expression, even any effort required to just even do the minimum from you as a player. That doesn't even make any sense to me. But the crazy part is that as you continue to remove any of the skill expression and the minimum effort required to do things on Survivor, you're additionally adding even more workload to the killers. Like, you're not giving the same treatment to the killer side. The killer side is requiring to do 10 different things to activate a perk, or 10 different things to just get one thing done. And yet Survivor, you're walking around with passive on top of passive on top of passive that remains to be meta, that remains to be unchanged. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that people can have this viewpoint. And when there are things that do require actual effort and timing and learning, like flashlight timings, for example, that has been removed, right? Skybilly, which, I mean, it's debatable. Oni flicks as well, I think, was an interesting thing that I think Oni mains were able to show that, hey, I like this character, I main this character. The fact that that's just being removed, I mean, you name it. There's so many characters have had like unique things. Even Ghostface, believe it or not, had an ability to be able to crouch and then stand up while leaning. And only like, you know, that it's only very specific situations that you can do that. And mind you, all he's doing is staring at you. But they decided to remove that as well. So I'm really not understanding, like, even a character as weak as Ghostface was also just getting his you know, his skill expression removed. It's really strange to me. I really don't understand like why they remove all skill expression from killers and survivors equally. They both are removing skill expression for some unknown reason. I don't get it. Like, isn't that the whole point of playing the game, is to continue to learn more about it and be able to show off your ability to do those things? Like, isn't that a part of it? Because that's something I strive for at even Marvel Rivals, which I have a channel for, which is linked in the description. That's one of my favorite games. I get to do that. If I know my character well enough, I can pull off things that other people that just pick up the character can't. Or even people even better than me on those characters can pull off things I didn't even know were possible. Because of all of that experience and time and experimentation. It's very strange. I don't understand like why it's like that. So anyway, they say, now the latest example which the community demands to get removed, shift tech, which is something I've talked about in the how to counter the survivor techs video. And I've mentioned it in that video, which I might be able to link it at the end of this one. But basically, the idea is that it's blatantly an exploit. It's blatantly breaking the game. Like, it's not intentional for you to be able to remove all Bloodlust or remove Chase just at the drop of a hat. Like, that just to prevent the window from being blocked. And it works especially in Shack. You just prevent them like being able to get the window blocked. It completely removes that entire ability to do that. That's a mechanic in the game to prevent infinites. And you're finding a way to remove that and create an infinite. That's insane. So anyway, it says basically you stop pressing shift for a short time while the killer has no line of sight, which makes him lose chase and can enable you to vault a window many more times. It's something that requires experience and is outplayable by killers. Which outplayable potentially, yeah. I think on Shack it's probably the hardest to do because the wall is like you're trying to go around the wall, but because the wall has like at least 3 seconds of non-visibility, that gives you plenty of time. I've gone against it before on a stream, and it's ridiculous as an M1 if you don't have bamboozle or something to prevent the vault. It's essentially an infinite. Like, you can still potentially catch up, obviously, if you outplay them, but it's like the amount of time it will take is not worth the input at that point. The gens are the fastest they've ever been. It's really, at this point, makes no sense to even try. They say, but hey, this community refuses to improve and rather cries, exploit, and demands behavior to remove it, and also gives bans to people who do this. Like they did with v.h.s.x, like they did with only insta-flicks. Skill expression is clearly not wanted in it, like it is in other games. No, instead people want to be handheld by perks and mechanics, but want the game itself to play the game for them. Stuff like this is why I feel like you're playing against perks these days, not players. Removing all skill expression will do that for you. That's exactly what I've been saying. I've been saying this for so long. And that's why I've said many times that it's not worth improving as a killer player in this current day and age of this game. Because of the fact that like perks are so incredibly strong on Survivor. There's so many base kit bonuses for Survivor. The only base kit option apparently that we have as a killer player is simply just Bloodlust, and that's it. Because they removed grabbing from hooks, they removed grabbing from hatch, they removed at least 2 different mechanics that actually provided pressure and took good timing. Especially from the Survivor side, because if they knew that there was a risk of getting grabbed, they're like, yo, we all gotta chip in and try to get this save. But instead, they removed that option, so now it's just, oh, here's the additional timer on your hook, so anyone can go in by themselves and instantly save at the very last second, and it won't even register that the second hook went through. Even if they scream and like when it makes a crunching noise that it's a second state, because I've seen that happen, it will literally, like, the legs will spawn, they will scream and everything, but because they're already grabbing, I'll look at the HUD and no hook is there. I'm like, oh, okay. That's great. Like, it's insane. They say, but okay, let's remove shift tech, window tech, and all under unintended ways of skill expression. Which, you know, like that, like these are broken like things in the game that need to be changed. Like shift tech is not skill expression. That's the misconception. Window techs are not skill expression. Like pressing a button is not skill expression. Sitting around and canceling somebody's input is not some kind of skill expression. It's just not, like, at that point for a survivor. Like, because, you know, when the killer has only one button that he can press, he doesn't, like, I'm pretty sure, especially on controllers, I don't know if this applies to like to PC anymore because I don't play the game like that, but you only have one button to press to pick up or break stuff. So like if they're vaulting into you and it just goes, oh well, let's just put in the other prompt for the pickup, and then they get a free CJ off. It's like, what? It's like, what? Like, how does that even skill express? You're just pressing the space bar. Like, you're not doing anything interesting. You're not doing anything that requires brain power. You're just pressing a key on the keyboard. You're not doing anything. And to point out the whole Billy curves part, they already stated that they like Billy having curves and stuff like that. Which people, I guess, don't really realize. There's a BP prompt, or not a prompt, but like, what do you call that? A BP event, we'll say, where every time you get a curve, it literally says plus 100 curve. Like, it says that when you play Billy. So Behavior already has said that's what they want for the character. That's the one thing I will like disagree with. That's a slight correction. They will never touch Billy's curves in that sense because they've already like said they like that. People enjoy going against it because it's a bit of a risk. It actually makes it interesting. Now, obviously, there's gonna be people bitching that they don't like it because they'll bitch about everything, but that's a different discussion. They say, let's continue. They say, or is that okay because it's intended and not an unfair exploit? But given the community's perception of any form of skill expression, I wouldn't be surprised if y'all want that gone too, so the game gets more boring than ever. Which the game has already been boring, and it continues to be boring. Like, that's just how it goes. It is inevitable, because of the, you know, the biggest voice, like the biggest crying that you can get is usually from the survivors. There's more of them, so it makes it seem like it's a bigger problem. It's just how it is. Like, and plus, as I've said before, like, you'll have a lot of survivor players that will echo chamber their shit. They'll cry to each other and like huff each other's farts in that sense. Just sit there and feed into each other's delusions, and then it'll allow them to all be brainwashed into you know, parroting the same exact talking points, making it so that they get the changes that they want, right? And the crazy part is that when you look at it, that's what the biggest issue with the balancing is because, like I've already stated, Behavior is trying to get feedback, but then when the well is poisoned, they get bad feedback. So then they just make a shit change, and then more people complain, and then they're trying to continue to make another change, but they keep getting from that poisoned well and continuing to destroy the game. But let's go ahead and continue. So it says here, the game has plenty of room for skill expression. Shift tech, in my opinion, is so clearly outside of the intended game design, it shouldn't be a thing. Which I completely agree with. Like, you're able to completely remove two entire mechanics out of the chase by just pressing shift. Like, what are we talking about? What? Like, that's insane. And then this person says, leave it to DVD players to label design flaws they don't like and exploit, and design flaws they do like a tech. Shift tech absolutely should not be a thing. I agree. But it seems like the original poster is trying to defend shift tech, which is actually insane. Which, it's not, like, you can't really count, like, the thing is, right? Shift tech fundamentally breaks two entire mechanics. Can it be outplayed? Probably. But it's not something that is easily just done. Like, that's not something that everyone's going to know off the rip. Because, mind you, it's two entire mechanics being removed from the equation. Two, you lose Bloodlust, and you're also losing the whole window block, which is supposed to prevent infinites. So, like, what do you mean? Like, you can't outplay directly deleting it, like, entire mechanics. That just doesn't make any freaking sense. And then he says, if it's so easy to outplay, then why are you caring they remove it? So yeah, this original poster, like, this is what I see a lot of when it comes down to a lot of posts within the DBD space. Like, they'll have like the first half will sound logical, it'll make sense, and at the very end, that's when like the nonsense like flies in. It's like they try to sandwich it in between logical standpoints that have evidence and things, with like delusion or things that don't make sense, or like things that are only going to favor their very diluted way of thinking. It doesn't make any sense. So they want to say, so was looping it, the community and the devs embraced it, so it became an official thing. But looping wasn't really an exploit. It was a different way of playing. They say other games also had plenty of unintended gameplay mechanics, such as flip resets in Rocket League, and guess what? The RL community embraced it. If it was a DVD community, that they would have tried to exploit and demand the devs to patch it out, because again, this community is super allergic to skill expression. As much as I can agree that the skill expression is being removed from the game, I don't really think that that's close to shift tech though. Like, you're asking to delete mechanics in Chase for free. Like, what are that's not the same fucking thing. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Survivor like exploits are called techs because they fundamentally fuck with the game's mechanics. Like, there's like by shifting there, like, I've seen people just move, like, press A and D over and over while in the chase to try to shake off your aim assist. You're literally manipulating their flawed ass aim assist mechanic. How is that a tech? How is that skill expression? Anyone can just press A and D a few times on their fucking keyboard. Anyone can, on their controller, just move their left stick left and right. Like, it's not like it's that difficult. That's not skill expression. Because if it was skill expression, it would actually require skill to express it. Like, that's why it's called skill expression. That means you have skill to do the thing. If it doesn't require skill to do it, it's not skill expression. Like, but anyway, they say except looping wasn't an exploit. It's being efficient with resources, while shift tech is. Like, let's be honest with ourselves, shift tech exploits bloodlust and window blocks during chase, and it's not okay for blatantly obvious reasons. And then they say the existence of one good thing that you put in the bucket of skill expression has no bearing on other things you put in the bucket of skill expression, just bad reasoning. This person says skill expression is good for the game, removing every tech you don't like because it will suck all the fun out of the game. Ask yourselves why other games don't do it, or at least not to the extent that the devs do it. When they nerfed Billy into the ground, some dedicated people still played him because of Sky Billy, but the devs patched out, and as a result, many of the remaining Billy mains fully quit the game. After that, Billy was just a weak killer that only really good for flick montages until they reworked him. Bro is just kind of yapping out of his ass. I'm gonna be so for real. Like, it really, this doesn't really have any basis in reality. Because this person even says that, he goes, nobody is saying remove all skill expression. That is a narrative you invented. That is true. Nobody said they're trying to remove all skill expression within this discussion. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. This person says shift tech is a little exploit that takes minimal hours, a minimal amount of skill. I don't know why I said hours. Minimal amounts of skills to perform and make chases borderline unwinnable for most killers with minimal effort. And then their entire rebuttal was just me when I lie. So I'm like, that's not really, like, I don't know how they don't see that it's blatantly removing two entire mechanics from the game, though. It's a little strange. I'm not really, you're taking off multiple mechanics in it by pressing shift. I don't, what? Like, huh? Like, that, like, what are we talking about? Like, you're removing mechanics from the game. Skill expression is being able to figure out something that nobody knew about, that actually takes practice. Like, that's something that is why, that's why it's called skill expression. What? Pressing shift is not skill expression. Even in the explanation, it's just, oh, you just press shift down after a few seconds. Huh? Like, so this person says, I'm doing an experiment where they're going to play every killer for 5 games and see what they rank. But yet, as we constantly keep talking about, if your MMR is in doo-doo level, you're just going to go against babies. So, what? So like your data is basically just destroyed off the just from the inception because of the fact that you're going against people who are new to the game, and therefore the strength of the killer is way more equalized within low-level babies because all the killers will perform well because they don't know how to counter them. Like, what are we talking about? And then this person says, what does this have to do with this proving shift tech is beatable? And then he says, edit, you're most certainly not. Brave's whole shtick is his mobility. Now he can use it to cut off survivors and block windows. He can't chase while invisible anyways, and Trapper's whole thing is shutting down safe loops with his traps. I'm talking about a killer like Myers, Freddy, Bubba. Killers have genuinely no options against shift tech. But I beat it as Trapper and Wraith. Okay, and I'm sure as hell hope you could do that. Yeah, because those characters can either, like Wraith can prevent the shift tech because you're going to be able to body block the window, and Trapper has a trap under the window so you can't vault again. Like, what? Like, very dumb. It's a very dumb take. They say all texts are unintended, so yes, you need to go. There's plenty of skill expression in the game without text. I do agree to some extent. There's certain things on killers that I do think should have remained in the game that were skill expressive because it wasn't something you could just pop out of your butthole and call it a day. But that's, you know, unfortunately not the case here. So they say, you don't really allergic to fun and unique gameplay. Doesn't be surprised that the game dies because it gets boring and every game feels the same. I'm like, it's already dying and it's already boring. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what tech you remove. He says, some of the greatest mechanics in gaming started out as bugs. Yeah, I don't know what bro is yapping about. Looping isn't a bug. It's literally running around in a circle. Looping is running around in a circle. I don't think that's a bug. Apparently, I guess sprinting in the game is a bug, I guess. I mean, that's what it's saying. Let's see. So the person says, I love who have experience playing exactly one game that's designed like this. Listen closely. It says it's intentional. The developers are constantly tinker with the meta intentionally. They will remove things, change out things. But that's not exactly accurate. Because keep in mind, this falls apart when you think about the fact that behavior does not change perks on Survivor, such as Sprint Burst, until over 10, like what is it, like the 10th year anniversary, they finally decided to touch Sprint Burst. But that perk has been meta for literally years. So no, that you lost it right off the bat, bro. So that's not really something that kind of works in that. And you know, behavior is not really interested in doing anything like that because their entire design philosophy is nerf the thing that gets used the most. So, and mind you, that only applies to apparently to killers because there's a bunch of perks that are used every game and they haven't been even looked at. So I'm like, that doesn't even make sense either. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is a good point, I'm assuming, because it says, to be fair, the game started becoming very survivor-sided because of broken stuff like perks, Swift basically giving you extra perks if being done right by the survivors, collisions that for some reason only affect killer, ridiculous gen speeds getting buff after buff while killer can't, and if they do so, it's small to basically nothing. Pallets so close to each other it's practically impossible to down a survivor without having 1 to 3 gens done, and that's just scratching the surface. Practically all low tier killers are useless and doesn't want to be stuck at low MMR where survivors get more broken perks to the point that there's no actual skill and you're playing against perks and not actual skilled survivors. You know, basically just stuff we've kind of talked about for quite some time. So that's the thing. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, I can agree, like, there is a lot of skill expression that has been removed from the game. However, shift tech is one of the most broken game-breaking mechanics that has been in the game for years and it hasn't been touched. That is just how it is. I mean, you're literally bypassing 2 entire mechanics that are there to prevent infinites, to prevent being able to get away for free and to be able to infinitely vault a window. That's what they're there for. So the fact that you're able to do that is quite literally going against the game's design. Like that. Like, by literally definition, like, those things are there because when they weren't in the game, we had old DBD with the whole, like, with vaulting that same window over and over and over again. I mean, you already know that. But I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, of course, on what you think. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, of course. Check out the other channels linked in the description and the end screen as well, because we have a Rivals channel. We have a video essay channel. I've been working on making some videos for that channel for I would say quite a while now. I'm hoping that we can get some done soon, because it took a lot longer than I thought. But anyway, check out those channels, consider becoming a member for exclusive perks and content, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members: Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.